Hi guys, please watch this whole video. My name is Christina Barr. It's my birthday today. I'm 31 years old. It was just last year that I completed my 30 by 30 goal. My next goal is probably to publish 40 by 40. Fingers crossed. So it's my birthday. I'd like you guys to do me a solid. If you don't mind, please go to my website, ninjadustpublishing.com, and join my email list. Keep up to date with things I'm doing, and I can tell about sales and new releases, etc. But please check out my book library and feel free to buy one today. Make me happy. And I'm going to quickly go through all of my books so you kind of get a snippet. You can go to the website to find out more. Um, and then I'll tell you what else is coming up. So, first two books, Super Kid and Super Kid 2. It follows Felix, who has an overactive imagination. He's becomes Super Kid. He teams up with Kiara, who becomes Princess Lady Diva, because she had to be all three. And then Lee, who just thinks it's all real. So they join up together and form the Superhero League. And they go around the community just doing good. And it follows a lot of themes. It's about bullying. It's a coming of age story. Your parents quite not understanding how special you are, and bridging the gap between him and his dad. There's scenes I'm sure they'll make you cry. There's scenes that'll make you laugh. In the second book, it has to deal with this very vicious bully named Frostbite who really takes the whole neighborhood by storm, and Felix has to face what do you do when you might be facing an unwinnable battle. And there's some very heavy themes in there, but it's all appropriate for kids and stuff. Your kids will love it. You will love reading it with your kids if you want to do that. Otherwise, I've had kids as young as 6 read it and all the way up. So check out Super Kid, Super Kid 2. Then we have Sunrise, Sunset, and Dusk. At Sunrise, you have Roxy, who is sweet and innocent, and she can bring out the best in people and heal. And then at Sunrise, she becomes Lila, who can strip you of her inhibitions. Plus, she is can move things with her mind, so that's very, very important for the good guys. They are two immortal enemies, and they are trapped within the same body. And unfortunately, Roxy's boyfriend Adam finds out the hard way that Lila exists, and they go on this journey / kidnapping to try to fulfill their destiny. Roxy wants to save the world. Lila wants to set it free, as she likes to say. And then Dusk kind of asks the question: is Roxy actually the good twin? Then we have Almost Alive and Becoming Undone. It follows the story of Michelle, who, she didn't like her parents, she didn't like her life, and she ended up committing suicide. She came back, and there was a demon who actually attached itself to her soul, and it wants to totally carve her out every time she does a sin. And when she's gone, the demon gets to live in her forever. She ends up meeting this guy, Julian, who has the same condition. He's sort of a rebellious guy, not the sort of guy that you would think would be a demon hunter. He ends up making a deal with her that he'll teach her how to survive if she'll learn how to hunt demons with him. And so they both at first can't stand each other, but they end up kind of becoming a bit of a temptation to each other. In the next book, she kind of has to get it together because he's really in danger. And so that's another book that I have that I just feel like Super Kid 2 gets better than Super Kid 1, and that's a series that just gets better too. You guys will love that series, especially if you like shows like Supernatural. Then I have The Color of God's Eyes and The Song on the Devil's Lips. That's probably my favorite series right now, I gotta say. It takes place during the American Civil War. It's about a slave named Charlotte who discovers that she was born with these special abilities, and she uses them, obviously, to escape and and then do good and stuff. It's really amazing watching her story go from a slave to a revolutionary leader, and to see where she will go from there. She has this forbidden romance that's based off of my family history, inspired by. I just kind of flipped the genders, and with this guy John, who is like her and also has special abilities. And then the Cooper is also thrown in there. He's a freeman who's from New York, and he kind of takes Charlotte to the next level a bit. And watching their journey and is just fantastic. You will adore Cooper, I promise you. And in the second book, it deals a lot with like the culture in New York, of the racism there, the draft riots that happened. So there's a lot of fascinating history, and a lot of the stuff is so relevant to today, even though it's happened in it's a book about the past. So I would definitely check those out. I love that series. You will love it too. Because Charlotte really has to ask the question, like, she wants to do good, she wants to be good, and she wants to preserve and save the nation. But at the same time, there's this little voice on her shoulder in the second book's kind of a bit about temptation. Like, these people you're trying to save a nation, and they're fighting to keep you enslaved. Like, would it be better if we just tore down the world and started again? Then we have the Queen and the Empress. All over the world, there are these inhuman colonies, and these queens in each colony, and each colony looks like a different race, so they can infiltrate us, and they're all waiting to kind of just take over the world. And so, the first story, the Queen, features this Caucasian queen named Rose, and so she's someone, her culture is pretty abusive to her, and so she takes her power and tries to fight back and preserve her heart, preserve her power, and she fights for all those things. And while there's this big supernatural element in these stories, it's really, about someone who wants to change an abusive culture and take back her power. And in the second book, it follows this Asian queen, and in her colony, there's a bunch of queens on the same status as her. They're all her sisters, and they all end up fighting to be the heir of her mother's great and terrible power. And she really wants to live a normal life, this Queen Jasmine, but it's kind of evolves into this Highlander situation, and there can kind of only be one. So you will love both these stories. You don't necessarily have to read them in order, but you should. It'll make two better if you do it that way. So please, engage in both, and you'll love them. It's a really good series. The Empress is my newest release right now. Then we have the Light Book. The Light Book takes place in a world where people don't dream. And if you do, these take you away to these prison camps. So one night light falls from the sky and gives powers to these kids all over the world. And so they're pretty much commissioned to learn how to utilize their powers and then fight the darkness that's trying to take over their world, or keep them in bondage rather. So if you like action adventure books, a lot of you are rewatching or enjoying Avatar. If you like something like Avatar, I think you'll like something like The Light Book. Check it out. Then we have Phases of a Broken Sky. That is about a girl who has been homeschooled her whole life. She goes out on her own. Her name is Jessie. Then she ends up meeting this guy named Maxwell, and they're both kind of going the same place. They both kind of learn some things about each other. They kind of relate to each other, but really the kicker that's going on is that Maxwell is transitioning into a werewolf, and he wants to stop this transformation, and he would be the worst werewolf ever because he has haphophobia, which means a fear of touch. So his life is really dramatic already, and she would like to not be pulled into the drama, but she is, and she would be a terrible werewolf. It's one of the funnier books I've written. It's still dark and whatever, but I think that one will make you laugh probably the most, except for like Super Kid. Out of like all my kind of like other like young adult / new adult fiction that exists in the same universe as the Dark Mermaid. The Dark Mermaid follows this mermaid named Luna. In her world, she was born with a serious defect. They call it kindness. These are like old school kind of mean siren-y kind of mermaids that kill people. And one day she saved this human named Ian, because if there was a Prince Eric, he would totally look like Ian Somerhalder, so I just named mine Ian. And so her father ends up banishing her, so she goes to the only place that she can for protection and to learn how to wield her magic. She goes to the Sea Witch, her father's greatest enemy. So you guys will really dig that. A lot of people really like that one. And I talked about those two last because the final book, there's going to be 3 books in the family of, there's Cursed Moon, there's Cursed Water, and there's Cursed Blood. And so Anubis is my latest book that I will be coming out with. As far as my fiction goes, because I'm writing like faith books and stuff too. It's in the perspective of a guy named Randall. He meets this new neighbor who is fascinating and kind of saves him from having a boring summer, but then his life dramatically escalates because she is a vampire princess. It turns out that the vampire mythology in this series focuses around the biblical story of the plagues, and when the people were, and this is kind of a big spoiler, but it's kind of like the fascinating thing, so I'm sorry, I'm going to tell you, is that when the plague of Egypt, killed the firstborns, they didn't stay dead. So that's how the vampires in the story came to be. And so a lot of it is just him getting to know her, about her past love life, or the tragedies in it, her family, and his relationship with her. She's a very cool chick who likes projects, so he is adorkable beyond belief. Some of you might think he's immature. some of you are going to want to hug him to death. So check out Anubis. It will be available for pre-order soon. So that's why I need you guys to sign up for emails. If you're interested in writing about anything in a blog to help promote this book when I release it, please contact me. I would appreciate all the help in the world. Thank you guys for listening, and I hope I got through all that as quickly as possible. And you guys, please go to my website, ninjadustpublishing.com, to learn more. Thank you for supporting me through all these years. I appreciate you. I love you. Be blessed.